Hello everyone in Sydney, I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, we will take a deep dive into the new New South Wales COVID-19 support for small businesses. Let's quickly take a look at the range of options available to you based on your business turnover. And after that, we will then explore each particular grant or support and look at their individual criteria. There are a few different supports offered by the government depending on your business turnover. The biggest one is if your business actually does well to begin with. That means your turnover, your sales turnover before deducting the business expenses is over $75,000 per annum. So this does not mean the profit is $75,000. It just means the sales turnover, the gross revenue is at least $75,000 per annum. So if you operate a cafe, that means if you sell $75,000 worth of coffees, that will make you qualify for this scheme, even though you pay, let's say, $60,000 in wages and coffee beans. Alright, so if your turnover is $75,000 per annum, at the moment, you can already start applying for what is called the New South Wales COVID-19 Business Grant. Now, this grant is a one-off payment, starts at $7,500 and goes up to $15,000. So you get $7,500 if your turnover drops by 30%, but less than 50%. So at least 30% but less than 50%. If your turnover drops by at least 50%, 50%, but less than 70%, you qualify for a grant of $10,500. Now, if your turnover drops by at least 70%, you qualify for a grant of $15,000. What exactly is the turnover period that you need to look at? Because it's very gray. The government has given us a guideline like this. So they look at the period from Saturday 26th of June 2021 this year until Saturday 17th of July 2021 this year as well. So that's a 3-week period, technically 3 weeks and 1 day, where the lockdown started to happen. Now, you don't have to look at the whole 3 weeks period. You get a liberty to pick a 2-week period, 14-day period within this 3 weeks-ish period that you want to focus on. Now, you have to compare the same dates. So that is whatever period you pick. Let's say if you pick the whole 3 weeks, that means 26th of June until 17th of July. You pick that same dates, but make it year 2019. So that same period that you look at in 2021, you look at that same dates in 2019 and you compare your sales turnover. Again, this is sales turnover, not profit. So if your sales turnover is lower by, let's say, 31% this year compared to 2019, you qualify for the grant of $7,500. And you get a liberty to choose which 2-week period exactly. So you can maybe play around with the dates a little bit if you want. Now, the important thing with all these schemes is that you are meant to only claim it if your business is impacted by lockdown. So if your turnover drops, not necessarily because of lockdown, I guess you're not meant to actually claim it. This grant is meant to compensate for that period I've just mentioned to you from 26th of June until 17th of July. The reason is that after 17th of July, there will be another scheme which is called the JobSaver. So the JobSaver works a little bit different. You cannot apply for it yet. It will be later this month sometime. And this is going to be an ongoing grant as long as you are impacted by the lockdown. They haven't announced what exactly will be the criteria, but we probably expect that to be similar to the criteria for the business grant, the one-off business grant, where you probably look at turnover on a rolling 2 weeks basis, probably something like that. Now, the next group of businesses that we will focus on is the businesses that have a turnover of at least $30,000, $30,000, but below $75,000. So these are businesses which may not be that successful to begin with, or could have been a side business potentially, where essentially the sales turnover before expenses is at least $30,000 but less than $75,000. Now, for these businesses, as of today, there is no payment available to you yet. There's no specific payment from New South Wales. However, later on this month, there will be the micro business grant, which will be at a rate of $1,500 per fortnight. So that's less than the JobSaver that the bigger businesses will qualify for, but it is still something. Now, if you need something now, at the moment, you are able to claim the disaster payment, the COVID-19 disaster payment. Do not quote me on that because I could be mistaken, but I believe if you genuinely have lost the ability to work on your business and you are not getting any other centering benefits like JobSeeker, and you are unable to work because your work cannot be done from home, then I believe you should qualify for the COVID-19 disaster payment. Please do check, double check, and triple check directly with Centrelink, the Department of Human Services. If you are able to work from home, even if you have no customers, I believe the fact that you are technically able to work from home, even though no one contacts you, no customers contact you, even though nobody actually wants to buy anything from you, I believe you are not eligible for the COVID-19 disaster payment, because technically you are able to do some work. It's just no one is giving you the work. Now, the third group of businesses that we will focus on today is those businesses that have a turnover below $30,000 per annum. So these businesses are more likely to be side businesses because it's only earning less than $30,000 per annum in sales before paying the business expenses. Now, if you are under this category, there are two options that you might want to consider. The first option is if, let's say, the business was actually a full-time gig for you, but despite you working full-time on it, you only generate less than $30,000 per annum in sales and probably a lot less after expenses. You might want to potentially change what you do. So perhaps close down the business and try to find a job with another company. And after you close down your business, you're able to claim JobSeeker. So JobSeeker is for you who is unemployed. That means, I believe, also not having your own business, because that means you are self-employed. So you cannot actually be employed to get JobSeeker. So if you close down your business, you can claim JobSeeker and receive, as a single person with no dependent children, $620.80 per fortnight. This is a bit small, but it is something. Now, if let's say your business was a part-time gig to begin with, and you want to continue that business, you might potentially qualify for the COVID-19 disaster payment. Look at the eligibility criteria, which I believe basically means if you are able to work from home, that means you are not qualified for this COVID-19 disaster payment. But if your business is something that actually needs to be done outdoors and you're not able to do it, for example, if you're a tradie, you cannot do your tradie work from home, I believe that you should be able to qualify for the COVID-19 disaster payment, which is at $600 per week. Now, out of all these schemes, the ones which are available for you today, right now, are the COVID-19 business grant, the COVID-19 disaster payment, and JobSeeker. Now, we will spend a bit more time on the business grant because that's the grant available for businesses. The other two support schemes are generic schemes for essentially everyone, self-employed or not. So we will not spend too much time on those. So for the business grant, which is anywhere between $7,500 to $15,000 one-off, this is available to you regardless of whether you have an employee. So you may have heard in the news that you must commit to maintaining your headcount, your employee level, from 13th of July onwards. This headcount actually includes yourself. So even if you do not have any employee, you are able to apply for the business grant. If your sales turnover has dropped by 30% or more, but less than 50%, you get $7,500 one-off grant. What you need is pretty simple. So you need to have done your 2020 tax return. So not the 2021, but 2020, which is last year. And your turnover over there needs to be at least $75,000. For businesses in certain industries which are on the Service New South Wales website, for example, retail, hospitality, accommodation, you only need to declare how much your revenue has declined by, and you need to give the actual figures of your turnover in the periods that you have picked for 2021 and 2019. So if you remember, this is a period of at least 2 weeks, can be more than 2 weeks, but at least 2 weeks from 26th of June to the 17th of July. So you give the numbers, the turnover dollar figures for that period this year and also for that same period in 2019, and the screen will then show you how much it has dropped, or you can always use your calculator as well. This system works on a trust basis, so basically you give the figures and then it sort of determines your eligibility. You do need to keep some evidence in case you get audited later on. Now, if your industry is not in the list on the New South Wales Services New South Wales website, then what happens is you still will be able to claim this grant, but you need a letter from your accountant stating how much your turnover is this year and how much it was in 2019, and that will qualify you for the grant. One qualification, one correction is if your business is in the industry that's listed on the Services New South Wales website, but you are trying to claim a reduction of turnover of over 50%, that means you want to get the highest level of grant, you will still need the accountant letter regardless of the fact that your industry is already in the list. How do they determine the industry? It seems to be automatic based on what is on the Australian Business Register. So if you remember the very first time you set up your business, you had to pick an industry for your ABN. I believe that the industry classification is coming from that, because the application form does not actually ask what industry you operate in. One thing to also note is that if you claim the COVID-19 business grant, you are not able to claim the COVID-19 disaster payment. So disaster payment is the one which is $600 per week. So for most businesses, the business grant is going to be bigger. So naturally speaking, you would most likely choose the business grant. The business grant needs you to demonstrate reduction in turnover, whereas the COVID-19 disaster payment needs you to demonstrate reduction in your work hours. So the time that you're able to work instead of the dollar amount that you obtain. Alright, so I hope this is useful for you guys. A little later this month, I will do another video for the JobSaver when we have the full set of criteria. Meanwhile, just know that JobSafer is also available even if you do not have an employee. So for the solo operators out there, either sole trader or a company with only one person, a trust with only one person, you are also able to claim JobSaver later on. Thank you for watching and stay safe and best of luck with your business. If you do require business funding, and by that I mean business loan that you need to actually pay back, you can also contact us and we will try our best to help you as well.